one thing I learned from Kevin Trudeau, he goes, look, the first thing, even before goal setting, is, who do you listen to? And, he really put it into perspective because, we've been on this journey, entrepreneurship, for quite a while, because I've known you from before as well. And the great thing is that we are learning from great people, but we're also getting better and better ourselves and also the people that we're listening to. And I'll never forget, he said, Kevin Trudeau said that, you may go to these, for example, goal setting seminars, and they say, dream big, dream big. There's no, go for it. There's no limit. There's no cap, which is absolutely true. There's a caveat to that as well. If you have such a big goal and you actually don't believe you can achieve it, it can work really against you because it can be so far-fetched. And I love Kevin Trudeau for this because he said that there's different schools of thoughts who call it a different name, but it's all the same thing. So there's something called, short-term goals, mid-term, long-term. Kevin Trudeau calls it A-type goals, B-type goals, C-type goals. So I think it's having a perspective on all of them. So for example, initially, this is a great example actually. Kevin Trudeau says, right, let's write down some goals that people want. And people did it on the audio. They said, write down your goals. And they said, right, on all your goals, on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your belief? 10 being it's 100% done, 1 being it's not likely to happen. Where is your belief that the goal you've written down is going to occur in 6 months? So they did that. And he goes, right, okay, let's go back to those dreams now. Have you got some 1s? They said, yeah. Have you got some 5s? They said, yeah. Have you got some 10s? So 10 being it's 100% going to happen, 1 being it's very unlikely. And he says the secret is focus on the 10s, the 0 to 6 months. He goes, the ones that you feel that this is going to happen. Now, people don't do that because they say, well, you've got to stretch out. Yeah, you do have to stretch out. But he was talking about a certain level of goals. So when I do this exercise as well with some of the people that we work with as well in business and other things, we write down goals. We say, write down the 0 to 6 month goal. Focus on that a bit more. Because when you give yourself a goal and you hit it, your belief and confidence goes up.
Yes.
I can hit the next goal. So I think goal setting is not to put a lid on it, but also have it in perspective. That because Kevin Trudeau says that, your goal, your wildest dreams, your big dreams, he says it will take 2 or 3 lifetimes for you to achieve them actually. And he goes, the problem is that we set these goals and then you wonder after 5 years or a decade that haven't come true. And you're like, well, does this stuff really work? So again, who do you listen to is crucial. But then when you have goal setting, that's why I'd rather have a person who I can speak to who's hit that goal, because then he can put it into a little bit more perspective. For example, I want a private jet. And if I speak to someone who has never got a private jet, they're going to have no clue, because they're going to think, well, you need to be super rich to have that. And that's the only way. Where someone has got to be like, wait a minute, do these steps. First of all, you may want to do X, you may want to do Y. And he's really going to, because if he's been where you've been, that's crucial. I'm not talking about the guy who, Elon Musk's son. If I told him how to get a private jet, well, he's the son of Elon Musk. So it's going to be, he's in a, born with a silver spoon in his mouth. I'm not going to be able to resonate with him. But someone who's been where you've been, that's crucial. And I think having the short-term goals that you can hit, then having your mid-term and your long-term goals, and then you've got to kind of work with yourself, because everyone's got their own perspective on how to do this. For me, if I get a goal, I like to immediately write it down. And then that short-term goal, I'll put pictures and maybe the words of the goal around the house so I can see them. I'll put it on my phone screensaver.
Why is that important?
Because looking at your goals, it increases your belief. And then when you also look at your goals, it makes you take action, reminds you that, listen, you've got a goal. Because when we go out into the world and we do the things that we maybe need to do, maybe we've got a regular job, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, or maybe we get caught up in, sometimes I get caught up in, family's quite young, got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, I get caught up in dad duties. Sometimes, when you've had lack of sleep, you kind of lose focus in what your goal is. Oh my God, let me remind myself of our goal. Let me see what it is. So it keeps me constantly on track. So like I've got a diet plan. And not so much of a diet plan, it's more of things to do and not to do. And I have to put it on the fridge. So every time I go to open that fridge,
you see it. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, wait a minute. I'm not supposed to have all these carbs and fats, so things. So
That's
putting
powerful.
it around me, it really helps.
I fully agree with that. And I think, manifestation is a topic that's quite big as well. A lot of people talk about manifesting their goals. And, one thing that has helped me, and I'd love to know if it's helped you as well in any way, is going to places that make you feel uncomfortable. For example, the Rolls-Royce dealership.
Yes.
Now, when I was growing up, at the time I was probably around 13, 14, I remember we'd drive by the Mercedes dealership, and I'd always tell my dad, can we go in? I just want to see what the cars are like. And, you know, my first job was doing paper round. And every weekend when I got paid, and I got paid £12 a week, slavery, right? But I'd always buy a Top Gear magazine or a What Car magazine. And I'd always flick through, wow, 575 horsepower, twin turbo, this, that, naturally aspirated. Like I was obsessed with cars since a young age. And I just wanted to go and sit in them and just, you know, as a kid, just see what they were like. Because it felt like it was just so far away and so unrealistic. And obviously, I remember my dad saying, well, there's no point, you know, we can't afford it. So it would just be a waste of time. But as I got more into self-development and I started working, I wanted to do that. And I did it because it changed how I felt about my goals and about my plans for the future. Because I saw it as, well, these cars are being produced. Someone is buying them. You know, just recently, I think it was about 2 months ago, I went to the Rolls-Royce dealership in Mayfair. And, you know, just walking around. And I was dressed the part, you know me, right?
Absolutely.
You know, suited and booted, fragrances on point as well. And I do that because I respect myself, of course, but also I don't want to feel like it's me faking something. But I don't like the phrase "fake it till you make it" because it implies that you have ulterior motives and everything. I'm a buyer. I'm just waiting for the money to come. You know, but you best believe when that deposit hits or when that business deal is concluded, and I've got some spare money lying around, I will buy a Rolls Royce.
Absolutely.
So it's not me going there to waste anybody's time.
No.
It's me going there to preview what's coming.
Exactly.
And so when I walked around, I was like, oh, okay, this is the Phantom, and the Phantom is just a boat. It's enormous.
I love that car.
It's such an incredible car. And the Cullinan as well, the 4x4. I even sat in the Spectre, which is their new fully electric Rolls-Royce, which makes sense for a brand like Rolls-Royce, to be fair, because it's the whole idea behind Rolls-Royce is it's silent. And so I just sat, I walked around and, you know, and I remember doing this as well 3 years ago. You know, just after things started opening up again during COVID, I remember speaking to a salesperson there who was there for like 30 years. And he told me, we've never sold this many cars. And this was during the height of COVID where people were struggling, businesses were closing down. And I was like, out of interest, you know, how comes? You know, how comes this is your best ever year? You know, I was a bit confused by that. He just said, well, people are making a lot of money in these times. And, you know, we've had people come in and buy 3 or 4 in one go, just in one payment. And I was like, wow. And that made me believe more when it came to opportunities and money. There's no shortage. You know, when you watch the news and it's always scaremongering and, oh my God, you know, recession, you know, cost of living crisis. And if you're not careful, that can reprogram you to be fearful.
I don't watch the news ever. So I don't read
Not
the
at all.
papers, never.